Welcome to Vedhik IAS Academy, the largest online IAS academy in India and the only IAS academy which got the Global E-Learning Excellence Award from the United Nations organization. For Indians, every student will like to get into the civil service examination. And when you get into the Indian civil service examination, you like to get it early. Because if you get it at the age of 21, you have 39 years of service. But if you get into it at the age of 27 only, then your active service will be 33 years. So how to get into the civil service at the age of 21? For this, there is 7 steps to getting into the civil service at the age of 21. Let us understand what are these 7 steps. Vedhik IAS Academy will bring a candidate into its scheme right at the 8th standard. As you say in English, catch them young. When you get into the system at a very young age of 13 years, then you have around 7 to 8 years to reach this Indian civil service. The first step is to increase your faculties. If you want to get into the service, you should have a very good memory. How to improve your memory? God has given human beings tremendous capacity for memorizing things. In our brain, God has given us around 10 crore of RNA molecules to store knowledge. But even Albert Einstein is supposed to have used only 3% of the capacity of the human brain. An ordinary person's use only less than 1%. By doing certain exercises and certain practices, you can increase your memory 4 to 5 times of its original power. I myself have recorded around 16 episodes. When you listen to it, you will understand how to increase your memory power, how to develop comparative memory, and how to memorize things till you get into a situation where you uses it. Second one is how to improve your intelligence. Every human being, intelligence is the same. But some people use it in such a way that they increase their intelligence. An honorary Brahmin who attends Kadavalur Anyonyam remembers around 10,450 slogas in the Rigveda without much difficulty. But a person with the same intelligence sometimes become an agricultural laborer, don't use his brain. So he develops his intelligence, how to till the soil, how to plant a tree, how to take a good harvest. His intelligence grows in that way. But that person cannot remember 10,000 Rigvedic slogas. So you have to develop your intelligence in such a way that you can improve your intelligence about 3-fold and utilize that knowledge, that intelligence to write civil service examination. I have given few episodes in that direction which will help you to improve your intelligence. Next one is how to write an essay. In civil service examination, there is one paper which is only essay. And in the general studies paper, you have to write essays. So what's the technique of essay? How to write essays properly for the civil service examination. I myself have recorded 16 episodes to make you learn how to write the essays. Civil Service Academy have prepared a booklet of how to write essays. What's the technique? Next one is to develop a candidate to write examination. You get marks not only for your knowledge, but for the technique you utilize. I have passed 174 public examinations in my life and have taken 7 degrees. Now, the technique I use in my examinations I have compiled in around 15 episodes, video programs. When you listen to that video programs, you understand what are the techniques to be used in an examination. You can start utilizing it in the 10th standard, in the 12th standard, in the degree classes, then the post-graduation, and in the civil service examination. Now, that knowledge coupled with the techniques will fetch you very good marks. Now, to get into the civil services, you should have rhetorical capacity. Oratorical gift has to be there. When you go to the civil service interview, you should have this vocabulary capacity. When you become a collector or SP, you have to deal with hundreds of human beings. Some are against the police, some are for the police, some are neutral to the police, some are politicians. Now, how to tackle with each one of them? The way you talk. Sometimes you are called to a meeting. You have to address a public gathering. You have to use your speech-making capacity to instill the crowd. You will become a successful civil service officer. So, Vedhik Civil Service Academy prepares you in the way of public speaking, the art of public speaking. So, this first stage is called faculty building. Vedhik IAS Academy has a program called Pathfinder. So, in this Pathfinder program, your basic faculties are improved. In the second step, you lead that candidate to the next level of civil service preparation. That is selecting a career. Every human being, when born on the earth, God will give that child capacity to excel in at least 3 fields. Persons like Leonardo da Vinci could excel in almost 6 fields. It varies. When we were young, there was no facility to know which are the areas in which we excelled. We could excel. Now, science have developed a test called psychological aptitude test. 3 hours you attend a test. At the end of 3 hours, computer will write down on the bottom, the person who attended this test have capacity to excel in the following fields. Now, when you know what is the field in which you can excel, you can pick up a career in that direction. As Shakespeare said, in everyone's life, there is a time. Taken with its tide, it will lead to great fortune. Now, when you reach the 10th standard, there are 200 ways in which you can divert yourself. But without knowing that if you take a wrong decision, you have to lose 2 years to come back, change your course and go in another direction. At the 12th standard, you make a false decision. Then you lose 3 years of your life. It takes 3 years for you to change your course and then come to another set of careers. So, in our course, in the second time, we conduct a psychological aptitude test, make the student and the parents aware which are the fields in which the candidate can excel, and then lead that candidate to the profession in which he can excel. Now, you can excel in 2-3 areas. Albert Einstein was a famous scientist, but he was a famous musician also. He could play the musical instrument very well. Lord Krishna was a very good administrator. He was a very good musician. He could use the flute very well. King David was a great king, but he was very equally good at playing his flute. Dennis Cromden was the captain of the England cricket team, but at the same time he was the captain of the football team. He excelled in 2 games at the same time. He was captain of 2 teams of the English football and cricket teams. That's a capacity of human beings. But when you go for the civil service examination, around 12 lakh people compete in the examination. 15,000 people are selected to the main examination. 3,000 people are called for the interview. Only around 1,000 people get into one of the services, destined services. So, nobody can be 100% sure that I will get into the civil service. Suppose you miss, you should have an alternate employment with yourself. So we guide that student into 200 type of careers open for them. One person can write the MBBS, become a doctor, go for the combined medical service examination, get into the professional service, then write the civil service examination, get into the civil service examination, or go into the UN medical services. That kind of career guidance. In India, a very intelligent student, the highest he can opt for is UN civil service. You get a starting pay of 5 lakh rupees per month. And by the time you retire, you get 1 crore rupees per month as your salary. So you can get into the UN medical services. Another person may be good in engineering. He can go and take his BTech degree. Then write for the Indian engineering services. Then write for the civil services. Then go for the UN engineering services. Many-fold progress is there. You can become an economist, get into Indian economic service, or take economics as your optional and come into the civil service. You can go for statistics, get into the Indian statistical service, then write the Indian civil services, get into it. You can write for Indian geological service, get a profession in geology. You can go in Indian forest service. Like that, there is a lot of areas. You can go for chartered accountancy or ICWA, become a very good chartered accountant. And then you can write the civil services, get into Indian audit and account services, or into IAS. This professional knowledge will be utilized, you can utilize in that also. So that kind of a career guidance is required. I myself have recorded about 42 episodes for guiding the students into different careers. Additional information will be given to you as booklets, which you can utilize and get into a very good career. There are 6 groups of civil services. UN civil service is one group. Indian civil services, 27 of them is in the next group. Indian All India Professional Service are there. All India Prestige Service are there. Regional Administrative Service are there. You have the private administrative services. So you can select your career in the second stage. In the third stage, you have to pick up a scholarship. In many families, the parents are not rich enough to finance you till the civil service examinations are over. Certain children are orphans. Father have died. Mother is not employed. You have financial problem. In such cases, a scholarship has to be picked up. Meritorious students can pick up a scholarship to further his or her studies. In our childhood, there was only merit scholarship and loan scholarship. Now there are thousands of scholarships. By the time you come to the 10th standard, you can get 5,000 rupees per month. By the time you get into your plus 2 examination, you can get scholarship up to 7,000 rupees per month. By the time you go for graduation, you can get 15,000 rupees per month. And by the time you go for research, JRF and other examinations, you can get up to 27,000 to 30,000 rupees per month. Now, you may be earning more by scholarship than your parents are earning by their job. There are thousands of scholarships in which you can go to UK or England or America or Canada or Australia, where you can really get into a world famous university and complete your studies with a scholarship. Suppose you are going to Cambridge University. The Cambridge University scholarship is 1.25 crores, not lakhs, crores. That kind of scholarships. So we encourage students in the third stage to get a scholarship with their own merit. And without creating any burden on your parents, you will be able to complete your studies with your own scholarship. That is the third step. On November 19th, we are starting our scholarship awareness program. Thousands of students will get scholarships. Thousands of students will get scholarships for studying abroad and migrating abroad, becoming citizens of those countries and settle there. That kind of a massive scholarship program is coming in the third stage. In the fourth stage, get a minimum qualification for writing the examination. In the civil service examinations and the prestigious examinations in the world, minimum qualification is a graduation. But graduation from where? Graduation from a recognized university. You have 29 universities which came into existence by the act of the parliament, like Indira Gandhi, National Open University, etc. You have around 490 universities in India sanctioned by an act of the legislatures of the states. But there are around 200 universities in India which have no sanction from the government, either state or center. There is a university called Samson University. There is a university called Thompson University. There is a university called International Labour University. There is even a university named after the great Vedhik IAS. But they are not recognized. You go and study there for 3 years, you will get a degree. What's the use? That degree is not recognized. So you cannot write the civil service examination. So get a degree from the universities recognized by the University Grants Commission, which came into existence according to an act of the parliament or an act of an assembly. Now certain people cannot go to a college and study from there. Certain people may not have the minimum qualification to get into that university. Certain universities will not permit people from other states to come and attend the course in that state. Such complications are there. So there are recognized universities where you have to attend classes offline, and there are open universities. Around 245 degrees are available in India in the Open University scheme. We give this elaborate information to the student, how to compete, how to take a minimum qualification, minimum degree. When you get a degree, either by the offline program or by the online program, you have to get it from a recognized university. I have 7 degrees, but I have gone to the college only for 1 degree, that is BSc Chemistry. All my other degrees are private degrees. I studied at home, wrote the examination and passed without any teacher, without going to any course, studying at home, and I got my 6 degrees. So this information we pass to students and enable the student to get a minimum qualification. Vedhik IAS may be the most learned person we have known in history, but he cannot write the civil service examination, but because he has no degree. Great scholars, great scientist, Thomas Alva Edison, a scientist who invented 1200 things. He has not passed his 9th standard. He is a school dropout at the 8th standard. Albert Einstein, the great genius of the 20th century, he had no degree. He studied in a polytechnic for 3 years. Albert Einstein cannot write the Indian civil service examination. Isaac Newton cannot write the Indian civil service examination. We have the Microsoft, the founder of the Microsoft, Bill Gates. He's a school dropout. He has studied up to 10th standard. Richest man in the world. He changed the course of world history. He has no degree. He cannot write the civil service examination. APJ Abdul Kalam, he had a 3-year course from the MIT college in Madras. Or Steve Jobs, the man who changed the course of 21st century. He's a college dropout. He has no degree. What I am telling you is that all these people are great, knowledgeable people. They have changed the course of history, but have no minimum qualification to write the civil service examination. So you may have knowledge to pass the examination, but unless you are qualified, how will you write the examination? So the fourth stage is to get minimum qualification to write the civil service examination. So we will lead you in the fourth step. Then in the fifth step, we bring the candidate to the civil service examination. When 100 students join the Vedhik Civil Service Academy from class 8, perhaps only around 5% will ultimately reach the civil service stage. Others will get into some profession, some career, and be successful in life. But when you come to the civil service examination, you have to develop a different kind of capacity. Because writing of the civil service examination have certain difficulties. One is the high filtration. Till 9th standard, there is 100% pass in Kerala. For SLC, 99.8% passes. In plus 2, around 98% passes. But in the civil service examination, when 12 lakh people appear, around 13,000, around 1% clears for the main examination. 99% filtration. Then after the main examination, only 3,000 people are called for the interview. 80% filtration. Out of 3,000, only 1,000 people get into some services. 67% filtration. Ordinary candidate cannot face this kind of a filtration process. And then the candidate writing the examination has certain changes. When you come to the 10th standard, you are given marks for your knowledge. If you know the thing, you will be given marks. So 100% marks are scored. When you come to plus 2, it is reference to the context. Who said it to whom, where? If you write that information, you are given marks. When you come to your degree, you have to annotate the matter. Why he said so? What are the words he used for the saying that? What was the impact on the man who heard it? What was its impact on history? Like that, the whole thing changes. Annotation. Then when you come to the post-graduation, analysis is required. In that analysis, you analyze how the word combination has been selected. When Shakespeare wrote Julius Caesar, in the Mark Antony speech he says, shows the cut which Brutus made and said, the most unkindest cut of all. If you and me write the examination, the red pen will be used to cut it and you will be given a 0. Because you cannot use double superlative, most unkindest cut. But when Shakespeare uses it, it gets value. Why that double superlative is used? Analysis is made. But when you come to the civil service examination, the basic premise is no marks will be awarded for superficial knowledge. For superficial knowledge, no mark will be given. You have to have that extra method of knowledge. You should have link memory. You should have comparative analytical power. You should have specific reasoning. Then only you get marks. So to develop this technique, you have to inculcate certain habits or style into the students' selection. And on the sixth step, after bringing the student and making the groundwork, the sixth important step is making two crucial decisions. One is selecting an optional subject. In our time, two optional subjects were there. Now, there is only one optional subject, but paper 1 and paper 2. 1750 marks in the main examination gives you the qualifying marks, out of which 500 marks come from the optional subject you choose. So you should have good knowledge about one area, one subject. If you commit a mistake there, you are out of the examination. There are 48 optional subjects. 22 of them are languages and literature. And there are 26 of them are other kinds of subjects, sociology, history, economics, public administration, like that. Now, if you make a mistake in identifying your optional subject, you are out of the examination. So, from your degree onwards, you should take care to identify an area in which you have to study, in which you have to pick up marks, and with that, you have to take it as optional subject and score very high marks. Certain subjects are universally selected subjects. For example, 6,000 students out of 15,000 students in the main examination take public administration as their optional subject. Around 4,000 people select sociology. Around 4,000 people select history. Like that, there are 6 subjects. 90% of the total students who write the civil service examination take one out of these subjects. So whether you are going for that. Now, certain subjects are high scoring. In an average year, hardly 100 students take maths. But you take the first 20 rank holders. Minimum 5 or 6 will be having optional subject as maths. Because when you take maths, if all the 10 questions are correct, you get 250 out of 250. But if 10 questions are wrong, you get 0. That's the other way side. So people who are good with maths can easily pass the optional papers. Now, regional language and literature is a very good option. For example, in Tamil Nadu, around 150 students take Tamil language and literature as their optional subject. Around 40 students clear the examination. Malayalam is taken by almost 100 students per year, but around 22 to 24 pass the examination with Malayalam language and literature as their optional subject. So, how to pick up an optional subject? I have given around 16 video programs explaining the pros and cons of each subject. Listen to that and select your optional subjects correctly. A second important decision is the regional language you take. You have 2 language papers. One is English language and literature, 3 hours paper. Then one regional language. But the mark you get in the regional language paper will not be counted for your ranking. But if you fail in that language paper, you may be first rank holder in the rest of the optional papers. You will not be selected. You are out of the examination. So that regional paper is required. Those who study in Kendriya Vidyalayas and other central schools have no knowledge about the regional languages. So they sometimes opt Hindi or Sanskrit. So one regional language is required. So selection of your regional language and selection of your optional subject are crucial decisions. If you make a mistaken decision in the 6th stage, you are out of the examination. So groundwork for this is very, very must. And when you reach the seventh stage, that is the interview stage, your personality test. Now, interview is very crucial. When you are called for the interview stage, if you get the highest mark holder and the lowest service getter, the difference is around 190 or 100 marks. That's all. So if you get 200 out of 275 for the interview, even if you are the lowest according to the marks in the written examination, you will reach the top of the table. But suppose you are first rank holder in the written examination, but you score less than 100 marks in the interview, you are out of the civil service. So this is very, very crucial. So how to present yourself in a personality test. In Malayalam, I have written a book, Vyത്യസ്തരാകാൻ, how to develop your personality. I have written another book, മറക്കാതിരിക്കാൻ ബുദ്ധിയുള്ളവരാകാൻ, how to develop your memory, how to develop your intelligence. Now, in the other languages, there may be similar books, but develop your personality and you have a definite technique of how to pass in the civil service personality test. I have recorded around 18 video programs giving the techniques of how to pass the personality test or interview. So there are 7 steps ultimately to become victorious in a civil service examination. The Vedhik IAS Academy, we have already 2,200 recorded video programs. I myself have recorded around 225 programs. So listen to them and step by step climb the 7 steps to the civil services. And if you join us at the high school level, then by the time you are 21 years, you will clear the examination. And you will be the youngest civil service officer in the service. So that kind of a change is required in the civil services, for which Vedhik IAS Academy prepares you step by step. So all of you are welcome to the Vedhik IAS Academy. Get into the Vedhik IAS Academy at a very young age, probably in the 8th standard, 13 years of age, and utilize the next 7 to 8 years for climbing these steps one by one. And if you climb all the 7 steps in 7 years, at a very young age of 22, you will be a successful civil service officer. Your life will be a great service to this nation. Your life will be something which gives a lot of respect from the people, and your family, your village, and everybody who knows you, especially the teachers, will be proud of you in this life. So join us in this 7 steps to IAS program. Success will be yours. And be very good personalities to serve the world wherever you are. Reward will be great in this life, and if there is a life after death, you will be rewarded in the next life also. So welcome to the Vedhik IAS Academy to climb all the 7 steps to the civil service examination and be victorious at the age of 21 to get into the service at 22 years. It will be a very rewarding life. You will bring happiness to your family, to your villagers, to your teachers, and you will be able to give valuable service to the people of this country. Best wishes in this great journey. We will be ready to help you. So join Vedhik IAS Academy as early as possible. Best wishes and wishes for victory in your life. Thank you. I am Dr. Alexander Jacob, IPS, former Director General of Police of Kerala State and the Dean of Vedhik IAS Academy. Thank you.